Welcome back to the workshop. I'm Bill. Today, I'm going to talk about dealing with a sheared off screw or bolt. This little 502 from March of 1970 has been a little pain. Getting the burner bolt off was a major ordeal, and I thought I was home free. And even though these were sitting in penetrating oil for almost a week, this mounting screw sheared off on me. A little frustrating, but I've learned that I can deal with this. Now, the first time this happened was on I think a 4M or a 421 or 411 stove manifold, and I didn't know what I was going to do because I looked in the forum on CCF, and there were guys on there saying, "Oh, it's easy, just drill it out and retap it." I'd never done anything like that, and I looked, and these guys were machinists or welders and that kind of thing, and to me it seemed overwhelming because here's the deal. I'm kind of an egghead. I'm a clergyman. I'm an Anglican priest. I have degrees in European history and church history and biblical languages. The extent of my industrial arts training was woodshop in high school. So I thought this was way over my skill set. But I talked to a couple of guys and they said, "No, you can do this." And you know what? I did it, and I've done it quite a few times with my limited tools in the garage. And with my limited knowledge, so I thought this might be helpful for folks if you're like me and not feeling very confident about this. So here's what you need to gather first. Since this is actually sheared off just above the top of the hole, we're going to want to smooth that out. So get a file, then get a center punch. These are cheap. I think I got this for less than $10 at Midland Tools here in Courtney. And we're going to put that in the middle once it's smoothed off, and we'll punch a little hole right in the center so it gives the drill bit something to start with. You're going to need a tap, and you can buy these in sets, but if you're like me and you don't do this very often, or I actually had to go out and buy one for this stove because these are 832 screws, and everything else I've worked on with Coleman was a 1024, a little bit bigger. So you can go and buy these individually. They're not very expensive. And you'll need something to hold or to turn that tap. Now, I finally, after years of doing it other ways, I finally found a second-hand holder for a tap. And what it does is the shoulder on the tap just fits in here, and it tightens up on it. And you use this, it goes down in the hole, and you use that to turn it. Now, if you don't have one of these and you don't want to spend the money on it because it's not something you think you'll use much, you can simply use a crescent wrench, and you can put it on that shoulder, put it in there, and you have to be a little more careful and steadier, but I've done this many times this way. So that will work. And sometimes, even if you've got one of these holders, when I had to drill and retap some holes on the burner of my Model 9 last summer, and there's simply, because of the location that the holes were in, this wouldn't work. There wasn't enough clearance for it, so I had to use the crescent wrench. So you'll need a tap and at least a crescent wrench or something to hold it if you don't have one of these guys. Get some oil. You can buy cutting oil that's made specifically for drilling and tapping, but I found 3-in-1 oil works fine. And you'll need something to drill with. And you'll need to get a drill bit that matches the size of your tap. Now, when I bought this morning, on the package, it says to use a number 29 drill bit. So I've got that number 29 drill bit already in my drill press. Now, that's the other thing. On the larger screws, the 2-burner stove manifolds, and even the 500 manifolds, if you need to drill one of these out, they're 1024. They're a little bit more forgiving if you don't quite get it dead on center. So you can use your handheld drill, and you can freehand it. You want to make sure that the piece you're working on is clamped down securely, and you want to make sure, after you get your drill bit on there and hold it down, make sure, look at it from different angles to make sure it's as straight as you can get it. And I've done that every other time up until this time. I freehanded it. On those bigger stove manifolds and the like, they can be more forgiving. Like I said, the screws are bigger and there's more room to play with in case you don't get it quite dead on center. This, however, poses some challenges. One, it's smaller. And two, I don't want to overdo it, because if you drill too far down, you're going to end up drilling right through the top of the fount. And then your fount is toast. You'll be looking for another one. So you don't want to do that. So a friend passed away and I inherited his drill press back in December. So this will actually be the first time I use it. So I'll use a drill press on this. Now, on this is small enough, and because I've got the drill press, I'm going to go ahead and just use the one drill bit. On something larger than this, or even on this, you could start smaller, but you can use a set of drill bits and start with smaller ones and drill a hole in the center and then gradually go larger. But because I've got the drill press and it's small already, I'm going to go ahead and do it with the number 29 drill bit. To determine what size tap you need, I'm assuming you may not have one of these. If you're like me, you don't have the right tap already. So you'll need to get some new screws. I recommend using stainless steel as replacements. So I took one of the old screws to a local hardware store, figured out what size it is, bought a replacement. Now in this case I was able to find another screw of exactly the same type. It's an 832, same length, so that's good. I don't have to cut it down or anything. And of course, in the process of doing that, I found out it's an 832. Then I was able to go over to where the taps are, and I was able to get an 832 tap. Now, the reason I say to get the screw first is because just in case you've got maybe an oddball size and you can't get the exact screw, you don't want to have the tap first and not have the right size tap. So find out what screw you're going to use first, then go and get the tap for it. So the first thing we'll do, I want to file this off so that we've got a smooth top on there, because if it's not smooth, it's going to be more difficult to get the drill bit where it needs to go. One of the problems, and the smaller the drill bit, the more of an issue this is, which is why I'm going to start with the actual size I need. Drill bits, even in a drill press, are a little bit flexible, and so you put it on there, and this is where the center punch helps, but it won't fix the problem entirely. You put the drill on there, and while the bit is trying to get a bite on the middle, it'll sort of flex, and it'll what they call walk around, and you don't want that to happen. So first, file that smooth if you can. If it's broken down inside, there isn't a whole lot you can do, so you just have to hope for the best. But I've got that filed, so now I'll take the center punch and I'll look for the center. And a little bit this way. All right, and we push it down and it's spring-loaded. And you can see the light's on the other side, but I think you can see there's a little hole right there in the middle. So now we're ready to put this on the drill press. Here we are in the drill press. This is my drill press's maiden voyage for me. Now, as I said, you need to be careful you don't end up drilling too deep and going through the top of the fount. So there are two things you can do. One, this has a stop on it. So what I've already done is, working with one of these good holes, I've figured out how deep it is, and I've set the stop on my drill press so I can't go any deeper. In fact, I'm not actually quite going all the way to the bottom. Having done that now, and if you don't have a stop, what you're going to need to do is you can put this in one of the good holes, figure out how deep it needs to be. Maybe you're drilling something where you don't have it, you can't do it as conveniently as this, but figure out how deep you need to go, and then wrap a piece of tape around here. And then go in, drill down until you've almost reached the piece of tape, and you should be at the right depth. So now that we've got that set, we'll lower the drill bit down, and I can actually feel it. It's going into that hole. So turn it on. And put a little bit of oil on there. I'm going to freeze it right there. Things are about to go a little bit awry. And from my vantage point above, I couldn't really see why. And it was a little bit unexpected from that vantage point. But from the vantage point of the camera, you get a perfect view of what's about to happen. As I put the drill press down, as I apply even just a little bit of pressure, you'll see the drill bit flex a little bit. From this perspective, it'll look a little bit to the left. That's what I mean when I say the drill bit will walk around. But the reason that happened was because even though I filed down the top of the screw where it sheared off, it wasn't level. It was flat, but that's not the same as level. The little ferrules on the top of the fount aren't real straight. So what happened is I filed it smooth with that, but it was at a slight angle. So as soon as I applied pressure to the drill bit, it slid off.
And we'll go very slowly.
And you can see we already walked off of it. All right, freeze again. Can I rescue this? At this point, because it was flat but not level, the flexible number 29 drill bit dug into the center and then slid off. So now I've got a groove. So as long as I'm using this drill bit, every time I try to put pressure on it downward, instead of going straight through the center of the screw, it's going to slide off to the side. So there's nothing left to file off. So I'm going to put a 3/16 inch drill bit in the drill press. It should be less flexible, and it's got a taper point on the end. So hopefully I can press that down into the ferrule onto the top of that filed off screw and create a new divot. Somewhat similar to the idea of using that center punch at the beginning, except I'm making a much bigger divot at this point, and hopefully that'll be enough to recover this.
Okay, so it's still not dead on, but I think it's close enough.
All right, freeze again. I've had to change drill bits a couple of times now, so I'm not going to show you the whole procedure, but remember to recalibrate if you're using a drill press at any rate, recalibrate it for depth so you don't end up going too deep on those holes.
All right, so now with the tap, put some oil in there. The key with the tap is you want to use some firm pressure You want to feel it biting. You want to feel it sort of threading in, but don't just go for it once because it can feel like at first, it can feel like it's hard to get it going. Sometimes it goes easily, sometimes it doesn't. It kind of wants to wobble around. So once it feels like it's really starting to get a bite, and you've got a turn or two into it, almost there, I think, and you feel it starting to bind, then you need to back it out. And then thread it back in, and I can actually feel it's catching in some threads that it's making. And then back it back out. Because if you keep going, and you don't back it back out every once in a while, you can snap off the tap. Probably won't happen with this because we're not going in that far, but the tap will get clogged up with metal shavings and all of that, and it's really in there tight, and it's hard and brittle, and it'll snap right off. So this is threading in. If I need, if it's just, I need to go a little bit deeper. Feel that's threading in. Back it out. Go back and then back it out. And I think that should be good. All right, there we go. So good as new, I think. We'll get it back together and we'll see how that goes. But that's how you drill out and tap a screw. Now on this, considering how difficult it was with that smaller drill bit and how it wanted to walk around, and even in the end, it's ever so slightly off center. If I look in the hole, it sort of centered itself after it got down in there a little ways. So it's a little bit messy, but for someone with no machinist skills or anything like that, I'm happy with it. I don't know that I would have been able to freehand this as well, considering how much it wanted to walk. So my recommendation is, if you know anybody with a drill press, or you can look on Craigslist or Facebook and find a secondhand drill press like this. Often you can find them cheap. This one was a gift, but if you can find one, it's probably worth having one around, or find a friend with one and take it over to their place and have them help you out with this. But it's really not as challenging as it looks. So I hope that helps. See you next time.